Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we bring you the latest news and updates from around the world. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm excited to share today's top stories with you. We're starting off with a fascinating story from Ivory Coast, where a former First Lady is making headlines in her bid for the presidency. Simone Gbagbo, known as the Iron Lady of Ivorian politics, is running for office in an election that's being closely watched by the international community. As we delve into this story, it's essential to understand the complex history behind Simone Gbagbo's rise to prominence. She was a key figure in her husband Laurent Gbagbo's rule, which was marked by both progress and controversy. The couple's time in power was marked by a civil war and an electoral crisis, which ultimately led to their arrest and prosecution. Despite being acquitted of international crimes and receiving an amnesty from the current president, Simone Gbagbo's past is still a subject of debate. Her involvement in the darker aspects of her husband's rule has been questioned, and she has denied any wrongdoing. Now, as she runs for president, Simone Gbagbo is promising social welfare programs and reconciliation to heal the wounds of the civil war. However, her campaign is not without its challenges, as the opposition faces allegations of clampdowns and intimidation. It's crucial to approach this story with a nuanced perspective, recognizing both the potential benefits and drawbacks of Simone Gbagbo's candidacy. As we explore this topic further, we'll examine the implications of her presidency on Ivory Coast's future and the region as a whole. We'll also be looking at other top news stories from around the world, including updates on global politics, economics, and social issues. Our goal is to provide you with a balanced and informative view of the world without taking sides or promoting any particular agenda. So, stay tuned for more in-depth analysis and discussion on Barbara's Bulletin. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're glad you're joining us again as we dive into another important story making headlines around the world. Today, we're focusing on a significant development in international relations and immigration policies. Belize, a small Central American nation, has signed an agreement with the United States to act as a safe third country for migrants seeking asylum in the U.S. This agreement means that migrants who are deported from the U.S. could potentially apply for asylum in Belize instead of returning to their home countries. The U.S. State Department has hailed this deal as an important milestone in ending illegal immigration and shutting down abuse of the U.S. asylum system. However, not everyone shares this optimism. Critics, including human rights groups both in the U.S. and abroad, have expressed strong reservations about such agreements. They argue that migrants could face significant risks in countries where they may not have connections or support systems, potentially leading to harm or further displacement. Belize's Prime Minister, John Antonio Briceño, has framed this agreement as an opportunity for his country, suggesting it will operate more like a job program for individuals with specific qualifications who can contribute meaningfully to Belize's economy. He emphasized that Belize would prefer to take in people from Central America, indicating a preference for regional solutions. However, opposition leader Tracy Tager Panton has voiced grave concern about the deal, highlighting potential impacts on Belize's immigration and asylum systems, financial burdens on taxpayers, and questions about national sovereignty and security. These concerns reflect the complexity of the issue and the need for careful consideration of all implications. As we examine this story, it's essential to approach it with a balanced perspective, acknowledging both the potential benefits and challenges. The agreement must be ratified by Belize's Senate to take effect, and it will be crucial to monitor how it is implemented and the outcomes for all parties involved. This development is part of a broader trend in U.S. immigration policy under President Donald Trump, who has prioritized efforts to remove undocumented migrants and secure the border. The implications of such policies are far-reaching, affecting not only the U.S., but also countries around the world that are impacted by migration flows. As we continue to follow this story and its repercussions, we invite our listeners to consider the multifaceted nature of immigration policies and their effects on individuals, communities, and nations. It's a reminder that in the realm of international relations and human rights, decisions can have profound consequences that require thoughtful deliberation and empathy. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, I'd like to bring your attention to a developing story that's been making headlines in the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Reports have emerged of a large-scale Ukrainian drone attack on Russia's southern Rostov region, with local governor Yuri Slyusar confirming that multiple drones struck residential areas, causing damage and injuring at least one minor. According to Russian officials, air defenses intercepted or destroyed over 50 Ukrainian fixed-wing drones overnight, including 34 over the Rostov region. The attack also affected other regions, such as Bryansk and Voronezh, where drone strikes damaged buildings and injured civilians. Meanwhile, Ukraine's Air Force has reported that Russia launched a record number of drones on Ukrainian territory overnight, with over 260 drones intercepted or lost without causing damage. The situation remains tense, with both sides exchanging accusations and reporting ongoing attacks. It's essential to note that the conflict between Russia and Ukraine is complex and multifaceted, with each side having its own narrative and motivations. As an unbiased source of information, we strive to provide a balanced view of the events unfolding in the region. In related news, there have been reports of diplomatic efforts underway, including a potential summit between Russian President Vladimir Putin, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and U.S. President Donald Trump. However, the details and outcome of such talks remain unclear at this time. As we conclude today's segment, I want to emphasize the importance of staying informed about global events while avoiding sensationalism or bias. It's crucial to consider multiple sources and perspectives when forming opinions on complex issues like the Russia-Ukraine conflict. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.